Hi friends, thanks for stopping by. Today I thought it would be fun and on vibe to make a video, especially since I'm filming this mid-January of 2022, about all the things I started making in 2021 and didn't finish. The reason why I thought this video would be fun is because I love watching videos of everything that makers made in the year behind them. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun, but it's also like these social media platforms, of course, we all know, are always a highlight reel. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of like flip that around, and I feel like it's super relatable that I have a basket full of things here that I meant to do last year and I didn't. And also acknowledging that the start of a new year is a really great marker of time, but it's also not everything. And of course, these things in my basket I will move forward on, or maybe I won't. Some of those things you will be hearing about shortly, so let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to start with is actually right behind me. I have this beautiful jacket that is just in process. It's been in process since December. It's actually just a toile because I was planning on using that pattern to make my own quilted jacket, as in I'm going to like piece and quilt a jacket. I know. Is that going to be on next year's video of something I started and didn't finish? Potentially. It was ambitious. And as you can see, I haven't even finished the toile. So here it is in process. I'm doing a little bit of a color blocking situation. So this side is green and white, and this side is white and white checkers. I was really just using scraps, but I do love the color blocking look. Yeah. So far, does it look like a lab coat? Kind of. Glad I added green. So this next one makes me laugh a little bit because I tackle lots of pretty big mending projects, but I have not sewn new buttons on this cardigan. Last winter I made some polymer clay buttons for this cardigan. They were cute, they were like little flowers, but they all broke. Don't recommend making buttons out of polymer. Yeah, so all I have to do is sew buttons on this cardigan. It's just been sitting in this basket. The next thing that I haven't finished and probably won't finish is this weird tank top. This tank top was just like me experimenting with stretch fabric. First of all, I didn't even know about grain line, especially not when it came to stretch fabric. I didn't know it mattered, and it actually totally matters. So obviously here I've done 2 different grain lines, and I don't know which one is the right one. Yeah, and ultimately I just kind of ended up hating these colors. It's very circusy, and I'm kind of just keeping this in my to-do basket because I feel like I'm going to cut it up and make something else out of it. This next one, speaking of stretch fabric, is my first foray into stretch fabric, and it didn't go that great. So this is kind of like half I did it. Basically, since, let's see, 2017, I've been using period underwear. I love it. It works for me. And then as soon as I started learning how to sew, I was like, I could make my own period underwear. That stuff is crazy expensive, and I could get it for a fraction of the price if I made it. And I was just like beautifully naive about it. I remember, you know how at Joann's they always ask you, what are you making? The woman cutting out my fabric asked me that, and I said underwear. I didn't elaborate, that was period underwear. I said underwear, and she asked if I had a serger, and I said no. I do have a serger now, possibly because of this experience, but I said no at the time, and she said something about how she would never make underwear because she was afraid that it would fall off of her while she was wearing it. And I remember like laughing about that and being like, that's such a funny fear. And yeah, let's just say these have not fallen off of me because I was wearing pants, but there was a walk home from the grocery store where there was intense sagging going on. So all that said, I did make myself period underwear last year, but it did not go well. Yeah, honestly, for first time with stretch fabric, I just can't be upset about this. I do have a serger now, so why this is in the basket is because I need to fix it. I need to serge these seams, and just make this more like structurally sound. But I did wear them, and in terms of being a period underwear, those are like 1,000 times more absorbent than anything you could buy online. So I 1,000% recommend that you do make your own period underwear, but it is going to be a pretty huge learning curve. Alright, so just so you know, from here on out, I keep all my unfinished projects that have parts, such as pattern pieces, in Ziploc bags so I can see them, so I don't forget about them, and so I can keep them contained. So I'm just going to be holding up Ziploc bags. It's going to look really, I don't know. So this, for some reason, I decided that I was going to make my whole family, plus one of my friends, all matching bucket hats out of towels. I did make one. It's really, it's just really poorly constructed. It's falling apart. My daughter loves wearing it, so I think that's really sweet. Maybe I'll try to make her a better one. And yeah, the reason it was poorly constructed is because I was in a hurry. Working with terry cloth is actually really difficult, and I tried to do this thing where, again, I was color blocking, so it was like checks, like dark and light terry cloth in alternating. And when I cut out the pattern, which didn't have the alternating, I didn't account for the seam allowance on the more pieces that I had. So I cut it out totally wrong. Basically all a mistake because I was in a hurry. And yeah, I just don't know if I'm gonna like ever make those hats. But I also feel really guilty. Like, what am I gonna do with a bunch of cut up terry cloth? I don't want to throw it in the dumpster, but I don't know what to do. That one's been driving me crazy. Next, I just have a Ziploc bag full of old socks. This can be the curse of trying to be sustainably minded. I don't want to donate socks to Goodwill. That seems rude, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't accept them. But like, what do you do with old socks? So I'm like, okay, this is fabric right here, but what do I make out of these? I did go on a little bit of a kick making like little stuffed toys out of socks, and in my head I was like, oh, I'm gonna make these for all the kids I know. Yeah, of course that didn't happen. Next we have, I'm actually going to take this out of the bag because it is pretty. I thought I was going to make a lot of, see, and I have little labels so I know what it is. I thought I was going to make a lot of drawstring bags out of scrap fabric and then sell them. This is what I did. I made 2 chunks of pieced fabric. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad about this. I'll definitely use these for something, but it's just funny when you have the momentum of like, I mean, I feel like that's such a real thing for makers of being like, I have a skill, and then people are really supportive of that and are like, you should sell your stuff, and you are like, yeah, I want to make money by doing things that I love, but ultimately there's just not a lot of momentum behind that for me, because right now I like trying new things. So honestly, I did make one of these bags and it was a lot of fun, and then I got bored. Okay, next we have, I wonder if you can read this label from where you are. Maybe not, because the camera might not be in focus. This is a draft giraffe. Basically, it's like one of those door snakes that you like put to prevent drafts. But my friend Bryn was like, you should make a draft giraffe. And I was like, that's a great idea. I wanted to make this to put under the crack of my daughter's door, just to keep the light out when she's like napping. And right now it's just like a old blanket like stuffed there, and I was like, that's so unattractive. I must make a draft giraffe. Yeah, I think that was this spring, so we'll see what happens. I do enjoy making stuffed toys, or like stuffed animal type things, and that's my own pattern. So I'm excited to see it come together, but there was just a lot more energy going elsewhere. Finally, I wouldn't necessarily consider this something that I didn't finish, because it doesn't even have an end goal. But basically I just started piecing together fabric scraps. I started quilting, but I started doing it by hand and just like finding, like not planning at all, just finding scraps that like fit together, you know? And so, yeah, it's just kind of this thing that I do when I have time. These are like all different chunks of sizes right now. I don't know how I'm gonna make them line up. I'm not really focused on that right now. I just feel really calm when I go through these, because first of all, I've like learned so much about quilting since I began doing this, so that's really fun to see. And there's also like sense memory associated with what I was doing at the time. This project feels really beautiful to me because it is going to span who knows how much time. And sometimes I think it's really important to have a really slow project. I definitely used to be the type of person that just made things so that I could have the finished product. And I feel like this last year, all the learning I've been doing and getting like a more understandable grasp on what my time commitments actually look like and how I don't actually have a lot of time. I'm a parent, I work part-time, and I also just want to make when it is natural and flowing, and I'm not gonna force anything to come out of me. So it feels really beautiful to see something that can just evolve with the season of life that I'm in. And I guess that could be said for all these projects, and even the projects that did get finished last year in 2021. As someone who mends, you know that a project is never truly finished and everything can be loved a little more. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much if you tuned in. I hope you found this relatable. Comment down below if you have a basket full of projects that you didn't get done last year, or tell me what you did get done last year. I love to hear about it all. Thank you so much for stopping by. Take care.